Hey guys. So I wrote this out. This is the search for Isabella. So my name is Christopher Willard. I'm getting this story put out for as many people as possible. I have 3 wonderful children with my high school sweetheart. Their ages ranging from 14 down to 2. It's 3 total, so it's 14, 11, and 2. My daughter's in the middle. She's 11. They've been the center of my whole universe from the day they were born. Now, that being said, after getting married at 16, battling drugs, alcohol, and still maturing personalities, we took the 2 older kids, that's all that was there at the time, from Colorado to a small town in Kansas. Problems crossed state lines with us, and my wife at the time ended up in separation. Myself with full custody of the children and their mother moving back to Colorado. It was hard to keep going, but through God's grace, we made it. After about a year alone, loneliness took hold, and I found refuge in a woman that I met through work. I was working at a county hospital at the time. She took it upon herself to help out a young single father and had a huge impact on our lives. She was a great lady. The woman was from Wisconsin and decided to go back, but before she left, she became pregnant. She left for home, and life for the kids and I continued on. Over the next 3 months, my wife and I reconnected over the phone, and then turned out to her moving out to Kansas. The relationships between her and the kids had completely healed, and life was returning to some form of normalcy. The whole time, the looming desire to know about the possibility of another child all those miles away. So the time came, and I sat with my wife and I told her of the situation. Understandably, very, very difficult for her. But so much so that she stated that if I were to accept this child into my life, she wouldn't stay with me. And after the hardest year of my kids' lives, I couldn't let them face another loss. I decided to uncomfortably deny myself that she may be mine. And I just put her out of my head. Days passed, weeks, months turned into years, but the thought of this child and the void in my spirit remained. My wife and I had another son, having moved back to Colorado until the present. A few months ago, I got contacted by the young woman that I had found comfort in. She did have a child, a beautiful little girl. She named her Isabella, with the middle name of Tracy, after my mother. And so actually her middle name is Tracy Marie, and Tracy's my mom's name, and Marie is her mom's name. She told me that our baby was born with a syndrome called Rett's. It causes cerebral palsy and a form of autism, and she's in a wheelchair. And she doesn't speak a whole lot. But I've seen some videos. Man, that girl was just absolutely beautiful. The mother also told me at this time that she was ill, and due to the nature of her illness and the severity of Isabella's disorder, she wasn't able to take care of Bella, and after 18 months of reviews by the state of California, the state deemed the mother incapable of care, and Isabella became a ward of the state. This happened last month at the beginning of September. I was urged to call to speak with Bella's social worker after trying for several days, and my entire world crumbling around me. Car stuff. I got a hold of her, and she, very, very first thing, asked me if I wanted to get an attorney for today's hearing. Turns out the day that I finally got a hold of her was Isabella's final placement hearing. The system was totally unaware of my existence until this point. I chose to be heard, and I was conferenced in for the hearing. 18 months of reviews and no progress. The hearing was already decided before I came about. The judge already had it in his head what he was going to do, and I kind of threw him for a loop, I think. So there's a statute of limitations in the state of California. After age 3, the parental father's rights are lost to demand a paternity test. You have to have a court order after 3 years. So I did talk him into giving me a court order for the DNA test, which has been completed, and Bella is absolutely mine. I was given a court date on November 2nd to discuss the paternity and my role in my daughter's life. This court date is required to be in person, so I'm struggling, guys. I got to get out there. And I have to be there to have any chance of saving her from the system. Since the placement hearing, the mother pushed the DNA test and has now been completed. This whole scenario has created havoc in my family, and my fight has been made a negative thing. It has been portrayed to my other children as me replacing them. This beautiful girl is my daughter, and I can't let her go for the second time. Not replacing, just adding. This decision has been the most difficult decision of my whole life, and it seems that to meet my daughter and be a part of her life, it is requiring me to give up everything else. I pray every day that those I love the most can someday understand why I cannot let her go again. Everyone has the ability to make choices to shape their tomorrows, and before we are old enough to understand and make those choices, we have family to help guide us. And before we can protect ourselves, we have a father to protect us. I'm coming, Bella. Daddy's coming.